Hey guys, my name is Gokul and welcome to another video with Life in Latvia. If you're already not subscribed to Life in Latvia, please make sure that you do. And today we are going to be discussing the reality behind the student life in Latvia, the situation students are facing in Latvia, and the advantages and disadvantages behind choosing Latvia as a study destination. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, when you think about studying abroad, you might actually think about all these extravagant parties, drinking, dating, all these amazing experiences, but it may not always be the truth. You might see this represented in Western media and even in your own movies, but it's not the actual reality because students, of course, they have all these options and chances to explore and have fun, but there's a lot of other things, the other side of student life that is usually not represented or not really talked about. Even when you apply with an agency or even when you try to study abroad, they're not actually telling you about the hardships that you'll have to actually face while you're applying for studies in any country. So with Latvia in particular, I can say that from my experience, it was really hard to find people that I related to, that I could add to my friend circle, because when you move to a new country without knowing anybody there, it's really difficult to create a new friend circle, to meet new people you connect with, and to have that sort of camaraderie. So as you know, humans are like social animals. Like, we need other humans to survive. We need friends. We need to have a circle. And that would be one of the most hardest things you'll have to face when you move to any new country, not just Latvia. Another thing that you will really face when you move to Latvia is things are obviously more expensive than they are in your own country, especially if you're from a third world country or like India, Sri Lanka, Africa even. Like, everything is going to be more expensive in Latvia. So one of the first things you'll start doing is you'll convert every item you buy to your local currency to see if it's worth buying, and you'll have a hard time kind of understanding the price point of things, what's expensive, what is not expensive, what are the best places to buy certain things, what are the more expensive places to buy certain things. So these things, you'll have to get used to it. You'll have to stop getting like currency conversions in your head in order to make sense of what to buy and what not to buy. Another thing that students usually find really difficult when they come to Latvia is living on their own. Because usually, for master students, I guess it's a little bit easier because they're a little bit older. But for undergraduate students, they're usually, they've always been living with their parents and they're moving out and they're coming to a new country. So managing their expenses, making their own food, washing their clothes, their dishes, all these just normal household things become more of like a chore, becomes more of like a job to students. So you have to be mentally prepared to live alone and take care of yourself and do all the adult things, because in this case, when you're moving to a new country, there's nobody else there who will help you if you don't do it yourself. So you need to be sure that you can manage it yourself. Another thing students will have to face is the extreme winter in Latvia, because it can go down to like minus 20 degrees sometimes, especially in Riga, and you will have heavy snowfalls, and being exposed to such drastic change in weather will have certain effects on you. It's going to be hard to handle. You'll have to buy a lot of winter clothes, and the weather changes can kind of affect you, because when it's really cold, you kind of feel less productive, if it makes sense. That's also another factor that you have to keep in mind, that you're going to a country where the weather is going to be completely different from what you're used to. So you also don't get to study with local students, because Latvian students study in Latvian language and they study separately from international students. The Latvian students that choose to study in English will get to study with you, but otherwise you will only be with international students, which makes it very difficult for you to bond with and make friends with local students, which is something you have to keep in mind as well. After you finish your studies, there is no guarantee that you will get a job in Latvia or even the EU, because The universities do not guarantee you a job placement. Of course, they will help you, they will give you all the resources to do it, but it totally depends on how much effort you put into it and how hard you try to find the jobs and find the companies and do your applications, because nothing is guaranteed. So if you think that going abroad to study or going to Latvia to study is going to secure your future 100%, that's not true, because you have to put in a lot of effort to actually find a place where you can work and make a career. Studies are going to be hard in Latvia, so don't get me wrong. When you come to Latvia, usually people will tell you that 70% of the students that enroll into the first year do not graduate, and that is true because you have to have good attendance, about 75% attendance, and you need to pass all your subjects as well. You only get a limited amount of retries, so you have to study. You cannot focus on work and everything a lot. Of course, you can manage it, a lot of people can, but you need to pay attention to your studies, especially because there are agents who do the exams for students online, because a lot of universities have entrance exams and MCQ questions that need to be answered in order to be eligible for admissions. And some agents actually do these exams for students, which is extremely frowned upon, because if the students are not even able to answer those questions, it is highly unlikely that they'll be able to manage their studies when they come to Latvia. If you guys also plan on driving in Latvia, please keep in mind that parking fines are extremely high in Latvia compared to your country. So if you wrongly park your car, parking fines can start anywhere between like 20-40 euros and upwards. So it's going to be economically challenging, especially for a student, to drive incorrectly, I would say. So if you do plan on driving, keep it in mind that you have to follow the rules, you have to be aware, and you have to keep things in check. So Latvian degrees are European accredited, it has Schengen value, it has international value, but you also need to keep in mind that even though it does have a lot of value to it, it's not going to be as strong or as powerful as a German degree or a Spanish degree maybe, because obviously you have to pay higher tuition fee in those countries, and that is kind of reflected in the value of the degree as well. So Latvia is a very good option. It does have a really good degree, but it may not be as strong as some other countries. So if you're looking to just get a European degree, Latvia would be the perfect option for you. But if you're looking to get a really strong degree, then you will have to do some more research into it. When it comes to student life, I would say that when you find your people, when you find your friends, you establish your circle and you find a good part-time or full-time job to manage your expenses, then your life will turn around. Things will get so much better. You will actually start having fun in Latvia and things would start looking better. But initially, when you move to a new country, there is going to be some problems with it that you will have to face. You'll be homesick, you'll have to manage expenses and all that. So keep in mind that with time, things will get better, and it's not going to be easy just when you start things off. But just persevere and it's going to be okay. So now let's move on to the advantages of applying for studies in Latvia. So one of the biggest advantages is that you will get your permanent residency in 5 years. And I have a whole other video about permanent residency, so you can check it out, where I explain how to get it in detail. And another thing is that you get European quality education for a very affordable price. That is obviously an advantage as well. And this is a very affordable option for students from countries where you actually do go to study abroad. So this would actually help you save a lot of money in that case. The total processing in Latvia costs around 6,000 euros. So in INR, for example, it would be under 5 lakh rupees. And master students are allowed to work full-time. So they're allowed to work 40 hours per week, which helps them take care of their own expenses and save up towards their tuition fee, which is definitely an advantage because you'll be able to make enough money to support yourself for your next year. Latvia is definitely a very safe country with an extremely low crime rate. So you actually don't have to worry about crimes or being attacked here. Latvia is an LGBTQ inclusive country, so you guys would actually feel kind of safe in Latvia if you are belonging to the LGBTQIA plus category. There's a lot of student parliaments and international student events, associations and societies in Latvia. So universities have their own, there's separate bodies related to the embassies. So there's a lot of representation for international students and a lot of events to keep them engaged, to allow them to meet new people and experience Latvian culture in a different way. So there's a lot of ESN events and you get a lot of multicultural exposure when you come to Latvia. So ESN is actually Erasmus Student Network. So if you know what Erasmus program is, it's when you travel to a different country and study on a sort of scholarship for every month of that one semester. So there is ESN events in Latvia that allow you to meet international students, and you actually get that exposure to all these different nationalities, all these different cultures, which will obviously help you in your future. And a big part of your international life in Latvia is also international work experience, which will help you get a lot of advantages if you go back to your home country and apply for jobs as well. When we talk about disadvantages of applying for studies in Latvia, I would say that the process takes about 3 months. It can even go over 3 months. And there is a step of academic information center where documents are verified in Latvia. It can take anywhere between 1 to 3 months itself. So there's actually a long time duration involved in applying for studies. If everything goes well, it will be over in 3 months. If it doesn't, it can go over 3 months. So that is, I would say, a major disadvantage. Another thing is that bachelor students are only allowed to work 20 hours per week part-time. So first of all, it's hard to get professional desk jobs that only need you to work 20 hours. So bachelor students find it a little difficult to find good jobs and to manage their studies, while master students, since they're able to work full-time, they have a lot more work opportunities available. I would say another disadvantage is that there is some subtle racism that you will experience in Latvia. People are friendly, but it depends, because not everyone's the same, right? So there are certain subtle racism elements that you might feel. For example, when you get on a bus and you sit in a seat, but there's an empty seat right next to you, some people would actually not sit down even if they are really looking for a seat. And these kind of small things kind of get to you. But I would say about 80 to 90% of Latvians are very friendly and very open, but you will experience a little bit of racism in Latvia, but it's nothing, I would say it's not as much as you would in a bigger country, for example, because Latvians are very, I would say, they keep to themselves. They're a little more silent type of people. So even if they don't like you, they're not going to do anything about it. They won't like attack you or like yell at you or anything. They're actually very nice people. I would say the last disadvantage I can put on the list is in some universities, they have these really experienced professors. So they're a little older, so their English might not be that great. So when they're actually going to be teaching you, they might find it hard to communicate with you and you to communicate with them, which might cause some problems when you're trying to pass exams or ask questions. So this would definitely be something that you should keep in mind, since Latvia's official language is still not English, it's Latvian. So a lot of the professors who are a little bit older, they find it a little difficult to speak fluent English, but I would say that's about 10 to 20% of professors. The remaining 80% is actually pretty great. So you can keep this in mind as well. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions and if you want me to make a video about some particular topic that I haven't, please drop it in the comment section below. I will reply to you and I will look into it. So again, don't forget to subscribe and see you guys in a new video very soon, and take care. Bye-bye.